with your host, Vocab Malone.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Vocab Malone. Yes, I am your host. Welcome to a very special edition, Friday night edition of Backpack Radio Live. The date is November 9th, 2018. We have, looks like over 200 people already in the live chat. So Mod Squad, you're going to have to do extra diligence today. Maybe a couple of you explain the rules to the new folks. Again, the date is November 9th, 2018. We've got a very special guest and a very special topic. Many of you have seen the incredibly interesting debate that took place between Mohammed Hijab and David Wood, Muslim apologist and Christian apologist. And right now we are getting the first interview about the discussion. This is an exclusive interview. I'm very glad that we've been granted it. And I see people saying already that I owe him a freestyle, but you know what, guys? We might have to delay the freestyle one more show. I just don't know. So again, welcome to Backpack Radio Live. If this is your first time, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit the like button. And then grab this link and share it. We are only going for 1 hour. We are only going for 1 hour. So the show will be a little bit shorter than a lot of the other shows we do. And boom. Welcome to Backpack Radio Live, David Wood. What up, man?
Yo, how's it going? Yo, I'm looking at the video, and it just says David Wood debate interview on it.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? Oh,
I'm saying. Oh, yeah, shouldn't you be on there yet?
Yeah. There's a delay. There's a slight delay between what you're watching and what everyone else is watching.
Oh yeah, I know that, but
Oh yeah, the picture. I had the picture up so people could see it, but it's down now. Now it's our faces.
Okay. Yeah, you're good now. Now I see our faces.
Yep, you got it. And we already got people in the super chat. I think I missed one of you. It might have been.
Whoa, you're already over 400 people, man.
Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those nights. This is gonna be fun.
You're gonna be famous.
Yeah. YouTube Christian Internet Apologetics famous, which literally means nothing. But yo, shout out to a lot of people.
Oh, it means something. Go ahead.
David's in rare form. Yo, I see all kinds of people I know. So many of you I want to give a shout out to, but it's going to be hard to do everybody. What's up, Renee? What's up, Carm? What's up, Kada? What's up, Boo? Lily R with the super chat. Hey, Linda. And I'm looking for rocks. Hey, Brian. Thank you also for the super chat. And Lily, Brooklyn in the house. A couple other people I missed, so excuse me on that. Hey, what's up, D New? All right, let's get right into this because you guys came here for what? To hear David Wood give his perspective on the debate. You're going to get some special behind-the-scenes stuff. So let's start right now. Thank you, Brian Garcia, for the super chat. So, David, what up, bro?
Hey, how's it going? I'm
what are you looking at over there?
I'm sharing the link.
Okay.
I'm
thanks.
sharing the link on Facebook.
All right, thanks, man. Well,
but I got this one on my phone because I don't want to interfere with the internet and slow down the speed here.
I got you, man.
This one's going all slow, so.
Well, yo, let's start right into this, man. A lot of people have been making a lot of comments. This is a very, very, very talked about debate right now and a very important subject, Trinity or Tawheed. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you affirm the Trinity position. That's right?
Yeah. No, I affirm Tawheed, vocab.
But I want to read two verses before we start, and I think these are important, and they're all from the book of Proverbs. Actually, I might even do three. These are real quick, but let me just set the stage with these. Proverbs 12:16 from God's Word. The vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent ignores an insult. Proverbs 12:16, again, the vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent ignores an insult. Proverbs 27:3 says, a stone is heavy, and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Proverbs 27:3, a stone is heavy and sand is weighty, but a fool's provocation is heavier than both. Proverbs 29:11, last verse, a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. Proverbs 29:11, God's word, a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. Amen. I think those are great passages to start off with.
You talking about Mohammed Hijab there?
I'm just reading God's word, man. It's good to read in season and out of season. You know what I'm saying?
Just randomly selected passages there, right?
Yeah. But, hey, shout out to Super Chat, Gerard Perry. He says he went all the way from Jamaica. Do you mean Jamaica Queens, bro? He wanted a selfie. Shout out to Tom S. in the Super Chat. Shout out to Michelle Marie in the Super Chat. But since you mentioned it, a lot of people were talking about your opponent in the debate, his attitude, Mohammed Hijab. David, are you eating in the middle of an interview?
Oh, yeah.
What are you eating? What's going on?
I got a fruit basket. I got a fruit basket.
I can't see.
The MSA, the Muslim Students Association, gave me a fruit basket. Oh, you know, it was funny.
Put it in camera if you could. Yeah.
It's got some candy in here, too. I haven't touched the candy. I'm trying to be healthy.
So
Toffee. I'll probably give that to my wife. I'm not big on candy.
Why are you eating and showing us a fruit basket? What's going on with this? We're trying to do a serious interview.
It's gonna. I mean, fruit goes. They gave it to me on Wednesday, and I just got it out today. And then fruit goes bad, dude. Fruit goes bad. So
you got to eat it right away.
I'm gonna eat fruit like all day for the next 2 days.
So
yo. You know what's funny though? You know Ali Dowell?
Yeah, that's Mohammed Hijab's guy.
Yeah. So the Muslim Students Association, after the debate, they're giving me this fruit and candy basket and stuff. And Ali Dowell was there going, shouldn't give him anything. He doesn't deserve it. And, they're like handing me stuff, and he's mad that they're handing me something. So that was cool.
Vane says, "Dude, they poisoned you."
Oh no. Hey, people don't realize Muslims love me, dude. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Deep down, they love me.
Thank you very much for Crusader General of the Super Chat and Rocky Siggs from Cleveland, Ohio. By the way, guys, that was stage. I told David to eat that. We did all that on purpose because I thought it was a funny story to show, first of all, the MSA being nice to David, the Muslim Student Alliance, right?
Muslim Students Association.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I always do that. But then you got Ali Dawah is upset about it. Okay, so but back to what we're really trying to do. To all 600 people watching, you didn't seem to notice during the debate, apparently, but a lot of people did notice Mohammed Hijab kind of had an attitude.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. That's the first thing. That's the first thing I saw when I started looking up comments about the debate was Mohammed yelling and insulting and how rude and stuff. But no, I didn't have a problem with it, right? I mean, I kind of expected that, right? Because I'd heard about how he is, so it wasn't shocking. And for the record, I don't have a problem with it because I know what I'm about, son. You know what I mean? Right? We know what we do, right? You know what you did when you made Islamicize Me vocab.
I wasn't involved with that. What are you talking about?
John knows, right? We knew what we were getting into.
What is
we
this?
knew that people we knew that people would be upset about it. We knew that some people would be angry. We knew that some people would learn a lot of things about Islam that they never knew before, and we believed that someone had to do some of this stuff at some point. Someone has to put some of this stuff in visual form. But there are consequences for that sort of thing. One of the consequences is people like Mohammed Hijab will be really upset at you. So if when he sees me he's really angry at me, that's just something you got to deal with. So it's not something I'm going to get upset about. What you could say is he shouldn't have done that given the agreements we made before the debate, which was not to insult and so on. Not to go off topic. But that's a separate issue. We'll probably be talking about that a little later. You saw the video.
I do want to talk about that. So keep in mind, guys, we are going to get into that specific thing. By the way, John McCrae is in the room. Shout out to you, our man, John McCrae. All right. So how did this all start, though? Because when you and I first talked about this, you didn't know who Mohammed Hijab was. So how did this?
No, I didn't.
How you end up debating someone you've never heard of before?
Well, this was I forget how many I don't know if it was 2 months ago or 4 months ago or whatever, but people started sending me messages. Muslims started sending me messages on like Twitter and in the comments section of YouTube, saying, "Why are you running from Ali Dowell and Mohammed Hijab?" And I was like, it's always amazing how I'm running from people I've never heard of in my entire life, right? And people are saying, they have challenged you and you're running. I had no idea they challenged me, and no idea how I could be running from people I've never heard of. But that's been happening for years, right? Because someone will challenge me on YouTube or something like that, and then I don't pay any attention to it. I'm not going to pay attention to some random person. But then that person's followers say you're running, and the reason you're not paying attention to this person you've never heard of in your entire life is because you're scared of his brilliant arguments. But anyway, I started getting lots of messages like that. And so, but I clicked on their page and they had something like 70,000 followers. So that's different, right? Because lots of times it'll be, you're running from so-and-so, and you're like, who is this? And you click on it and he's got 35 followers or something like that. And you're like, okay, I'm not responding to some random dude. But Mohammed Hijab had like, I don't know, 70 some thousand followers.
Yeah, I remember you said, well, I don't know who he is, but apparently he's got quite a following.
Yeah. So I wasn't really interested, because I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I haven't been around much over the past few months. I've been doing other things. I've had a lot of other things to do over the past few months. So I really wasn't, out looking for any sort of debates. So what I did was I said, well, it came up when we were doing a live stream once, and someone in the comments section said, "Hey, are you gonna face them?" And I said, I'll face all three of them at the same time. And so I had no idea whether these guys know how to debate or anything. And I said, but you guys have to set it up. And I said 2 topics: who was Jesus and who was Muhammad. That way it's even. Apparently, they only wanted one topic. They wanted Trinity versus Tawhid. They believe that is their strong topic, comparing the Trinity and Tawhid. That is their go-to topic.
Also,
if you notice, these guys do not want to debate Muhammad. They don't want to debate the Quran.
Right.
They want to debate what they regard as their bread and butter.
Not only that, but Mohammed Hijab has done, at least as far as the internet is concerned, one other publicly moderated debate. And David Wood, could you guess the topic?
Trinity versus Tawhid or something.
That's his go-to. Yes, that's the other thing he's debated. Yes.
Well, yeah. So that's what all the Muslim debaters are going for nowadays, right? Me, I prefer like historical topics, like did Jesus rise from the dead, or what were Jesus' claims? Things about Muhammad. Was he a prophet? Examining arguments for Islam, and so on, things like that. But Muslims regard that as their bread and butter topic. And he said, no, that's what I'm challenging you to. And so I forget if I said it in a video or somewhere else, but I said, look, you set up the debate, you get a Muslim, a mosque, or, the Muslim Students Association to host the debate, and just tell me where it is and I'll do it. And they did it. So the Muslim Students Association up at York College in Queens agreed to host it, and there were a couple other MSAs that were willing to host it, because I got contacted by some of them saying we're willing to host a debate. So that was really cool. So what was cool about it is apparently the young people, the younger people, the college age students, they know who Mohammed Hijab is.
Yeah,
right? I'd never heard of him, but that he must be more well known to the younger generation, because for multiple Muslim Students Association, as soon as I say I'm willing to debate him, for them to jump in there and say we're willing to host. There's not a lot of Muslim Students Associations who host debates very, very often. So for them to jump in there and say we will, that was interesting.
I think they have a active and pretty effective social media game. I think that kind of social media presence, and they do like a variety of things. Like somebody sent me a link. Well, Carm, aka Little C, she sent me a link the other day that had Mohammed Hijab and another guy who's kind of well known, but I forgot his name off the top of my head, doing a rap battle. Like it's kind of a
Mohammed Hijab was doing a rap battle.
Yeah, but it's they're just joking around.
Can you take him? Can you take him?
Yeah. I'm semi-retired, but I could take Mohammed Hijab in a rap battle.
Should we challenge Mohammed Hijab an Ali Dawah to a rap and beatbox battle. Who's going to win that, right?
That's a very interesting proposition. The thing is, there's some really, really dope Muslim MCs out there,
Yeah, I know.
and they'll probably step it in instead, and then,
No, it's got to be them. It's got to be them, right?
Right. But, it's kind of interesting because it was like, my point is, it was a fun little video. You know what I'm saying? It showed, like, their kind of, like, fun side. And it was interesting, before it began, it said there are no instruments used in this video. Clearly, alerting the Haram police that they're not violating
got to be
Haram.
Sharia compliant.
Shout out to Top Student. Oh, hey, someone get Awas Hussein out of here. You can't talk that way. You can't say F David Wood, the stupid bastard, in the channel and expect to stay around. Mods, get that person out of here. No warnings, no timeouts. You're gone when you do that.
Yeah, who you think you are? Mohammed Hijab is insulting me?
But there's a lot of people in the super chat. The strangest one was someone named Jesus Christ gave a significant amount in the super chat. I've never had that happen. I feel weird saying thank you. I'll just say thank you to the user that gave generously. Can I just say that? Is that okay? I don't want to. Okay. So the thing is, though, we've mentioned a few times, like, after people sent you stuff, then you learned a little bit about these guys. The same thing with me. But according to one person, you've been following him since day one.
Been following who?
Ali Dawah says you've been following him since day one. He
No
says
clue.
it says because you knew his original name that I guess he used to go by on YouTube, according to a video I watched, as Ali Dawell or whatever. So he says you've known him since day one. How'd you know that if you don't know who he is? How'd you know his old name?
I called him Ali Dawell when I said I was willing to debate these guys, and I said, yeah, Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawell.
So you must have been like one of his first subscribers then.
Oh, so he went by that name years ago, and now he thinks I've been following him back then?
That's what they said in the video.
No, that's his Twitter name. You know how it's like at something?
Yeah.
His Twitter name is like at Ali Dawell, and so that's the name that people were sending me. So they were saying, why are you running from Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawell? And so I thought that's the name he went by. So. Yeah, guys, try again if you're inferring that I've been following you for all these years because that's still your Twitter name.
Right. So, I mean, it seems like they would know that. Like, oh, that's my Twitter name, so he's calling me by my Twitter name. It seems like they would know that, but whatever. Benefit.
Like, hey, you called me Act 17. You must have been following me since we invented the name Act 17 so many years ago.
Right. Hey, yo, real quick, there's a guy in the live chat. With the name of Islam Critiqued. I told you about him earlier, David. He just started doing really good videos January of 2018. But listen, there's a lot of people watching this. I would like it if every single person watching this would stop watching this video for just 1 minute, go to Islam Critiqued's YouTube channel and subscribe. To the people who are interested in the linguistic aspects of this, you're not going to find a better, more succinct place. Everyone subscribe. Let's get him over 1,000 before the end of the night. I'm serious. I mean everybody. I rarely would do this. Pause whatever you got to do. Go to Islam Critique, subscribe to him, and watch his 2 videos he did where he really deconstructs in a very thorough way some of Mohammed Hijab's blunders in the language area, which he thoroughly deserves after chastising others. It's good stuff. So good job, Islam Critiqued. Everyone subscribe to him. And by the way,
on a side note, everyone who's coming here from my page because I post that I'd be here. Be sure to subscribe to Vocab's channel here because Vocab does pretty cool stuff regularly. Wait, Vocab, you're saying that Muslim debaters who say, you don't understand the Arabic, will nevertheless absolutely butcher Hebrew and Greek when they're trying to build their arguments?
Yeah, like when it comes to ruach, they'll make major mistakes. I've heard of that happening like a few days ago. Some guy did it. They'll make major mistakes in reference to pronouns in the name of God. They've been known to make some really massive blunders while educating others, supposedly on language. Islam Critique should make a video called I Knew I Was Going to Have to Give You a Free Hebrew Lesson. All right, so we're talking about YouTube channels. We're talking about Christian apologists. We're talking about subscribes. We're on a live stream. David, what happened to your live stream? The room was set up. You told me you were going to do it. And then at the last second...
Oh yeah, I saw it because I saw you become a conspiracy theorist and thinking that people had conspired against me to block my live stream.
Totally.
But no. I got there and I set up, was setting up my equipment, setting up the camera, had it plugged into the computer, had it on Ecamm Live so I could live stream. But there was only one Ethernet cable, and Mohammed Hijab's team, they were there before me, so totally fair for them to be plugged into that. So they were using it, and that just meant there was no other Ethernet cable. And the MSA was cool. Mahmoud, he tried to get me on Wi-Fi, but the connection was really weak, and he even tethered my computer to his phone to try and get me internet through his phone, but it just wasn't strong enough for a good live stream.
So wait, who's the guy? Who's the guy that was cool?
That's the president of the Muslim Students Association there.
Was he the moderator as well?
Yeah.
He
Yes,
did seem like what I could describe as a man of peace, someone who seemed level-headed, fair-minded, and tried his best to be objective, honest, authentic person. He stood out in the debate, and so full credit goes to him. Maybe he'll become our James White. Every time we're like, well, if you were more like James, we'll say, well, if you were more,
if you were more like Mahmoud, yeah. We need to tell Mohammed Hijab. If he were more like Mahmoud, then we'd take him more seriously.
But
no, yeah. So he was a really cool guy, but just wasn't strong enough. So I went on there and posted a message say, all right, Mohammed Hijab is live streaming, so go over on his channel and watch it.
Mohammed Hijab before the debate, not so much. He wouldn't even shake your dirty kafir hand.
Oh yeah, you saw that video.
Yeah, I did see that, and I think Ali Dowell, I think he was proud of it because he put it on his channel and said Wood tries to shake Hijab's hand.
Yeah, that's another thing people are saying. Hey, you're rude and so on. But again, we know what we do, vocab. So I mean, think about it, right? I mean, you got lots of Muslims, and most Muslims would shake my hand. But think, if Abu Bakr or Umar or Ali, one of Muhammad's companions, Abu Musa, if any of these guys were to run into me after, to be honest, they would agree with a lot of what we say about Muhammad because we're saying stuff that they all knew that people think we're making up today.
Right.
So they would actually be like, yes, we love you, David, for telling the truth.
That's my prophet.
About Muhammad. Yeah, that's right, David. Yeah, you go, David, in vocab. But
his sweat does make the best cologne. That's right.
But they would know we criticize a lot. So these guys would, these Muhammad's companions would chop our heads off, right? It wouldn't even be close. So, avoiding a handshake, not the end of the world there. So
you're saying it's not as bad as it could be?
No, I'm saying I understand it, right? If you actually believe in Muhammad and you take Muhammad's teaching seriously, people who criticize him are supposed to die. And so withholding a handshake is kind of the least you could do.
Oh, I like your positive attitude. That's
I give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Yeah, and the reason I do that is because if I were a Muslim, I would probably be like that. I've often thought if me, Sam Shimon,
we already know what you would be like as a Muslim because we've seen you Islamicize me.
You saw that. That's pretty much exactly what I would be like as a Muslim, except I would be a lot more better informed than this was.
Let's play a brief clip, because I want people to see this. And so what's going on is they're talking about the rules right here, but I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the end and let everyone see this little spot we're talking about to those who have not seen it yet.
So we don't want someone to bombard like a certain individual with questions, so both of you can get the fair share of questions. So everything understood? All good? Good, man. You can shake hands if you want. Sure. All right. Sure.
Oh, hold on. Our little face was sort of in the way. Let me do it one more time, and then we'll be done. Okay, because you couldn't see David extend. There we go. One more time.
So you guys in the restroom? Oh yeah, you can actually go inside. Good, man. You can shake hands if you want. Sure. All right. Sure.
So the moderator says you can shake hands. He says that's all right. David?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought I was all alone here for a second on the internet.
No, you're good.
Okay, so
You don't need to panic.
if anyone wants to watch the whole thing, they can. There's a couple of places. Just put David Wood Muhammad handshake, and you'll be able to find it. So the guy suggested shake hands. It wasn't like you were like, "Hey, what's up?" And he played you out, and you were like, The guy said you can shake hands. So again, he's more cordial. And
he was emphasizing being respectful and no insults, no personal attacks, no going off topic, things like that. And so he wanted to, hey, let's see you guys shake hands and stuff.
And he says that's all right.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Hey, I don't know if people notice, Mohammed Hijab that's a huge dude.
I heard he's 6'6", right?
I'm 6'3", and he had about a good 3 inches on me. So yeah, he's in the 6'6" range.
Didn't he challenge Tommy Robinson to a some kind of MMA or boxing match or something?
I saw a video titled something like that. Tommy Robinson's like 5'5". Yeah, can you guys imagine this?
He's like an English leprechaun.
Like if I challenged Shabir Ali to a fight or something like this, Tommy Robinson. Okay. No, I do want to say though, Mohammed Hijab would crush Tommy Robinson if they did an MMA fight. No, all respect to Tommy's courage and stuff like that. But
why are you giving
6'6" is
why are you giving these guys clip fodder?
Gotta give him credit, man.
That's all you're doing is giving him clip
fodder.
Oh
yeah. Next video. David Wood admits Mohammed Hijab would destroy Tommy Robinson.
That's exactly what's going to happen. Let's bet on it right now. Let's bet a percentage of our jizya payments. Okay, so check this out now. Looking here, that's how things began. But what were the rules that were being discussed? I didn't play them all, but you had prior conversations. The rules were being discussed. People need to hear this in specific. And by the way, there's a lot of people giving in the super chat. I usually thank you to everyone. I see every person. I want to thank you, but we got to keep this moving. I'm going to try to give a shout out to you guys, but thank you. But we got to keep it moving. So keep on giving, but let's keep it moving. What were the rules, David?
Well before the debate, Mohammed Hijab told me I had to contact the MSA to go over what they were saying and stuff, and it was we want a respectful debate. We don't want any personal attacks or insults, no going off topic, things like that. And so I said, well, I didn't plan on doing any of that, and I don't have a problem with any of that in previous debates, and so that was beforehand. So that's what we had to agree to beforehand. And in the video Ali Dowell posted, they tell us the rules right beforehand. We want this to be respectful, no insults, no going off topic. The only things you're allowed to address are Trinity and Tawheed. And he said, if you step outside those, if you step over that line, then I'll stop you and give you a warning and 3 warnings, and you lose your time or something like that. You lose the rest of your whatever presentation you're giving right there. So something like that. But people can watch that video. We both posted it on our Facebook pages.
So it was supposed to be, hey, these are the rules, and I'll stop you if you don't, right?
Yeah.
And so no personal insults.
Yeah.
I just want to review this because it's so different from what actually happened.
Yeah.
Right? You also got no going off topic. So was there a third thing?
Yeah. No insults, personal attacks, things like that, but no going off topic or stepping outside of the topic, Trinity versus Tawheed. So if you start talking about something else, then he was gonna stop it and give you a warning.
Was that expressed clearly just that time? Was there another time as well?
Well, no, again, we had to, that's what we talked about. I forget how long it was, whether it's a week or 2 weeks or whatever before the debate when they're setting it up. So we had to agree to that for them to even set up the debate. So then they set it up, and then they laid it down to us when we got there.
Okay. Well, that's not how the debate actually went. So
that's true.
Once he started his personal attacks, did you think of leaving?
Well, no. Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe this now. So I want to be clear. I don't think that there was a conspiracy now, but when he started, I did, right? When he started in his opening statement, at the end of his opening statement, and he starts, this man mocks Islam and makes videos. You can see me. I look over at the moderators. I don't try to signal them or anything. I just look over at them, because I'm thinking they're obviously going to say, yeah, Muhammad, stop it right now, because you have to, right? Because, you have an entire debate, so you have to stop it there in the beginning. And when they didn't, I was actually thinking, oh, I got set up, right? I got set up to to get me here. And well, there's a reason. There's a reason for thinking that. Namely, that's happened a bunch of times over the years, right? And not just to me. Before I ever even debated, Jay Smith was going to a debate, and a Muslim organization said, we want to set up a debate with you, Jay Smith. This is back in the 90s. And they said the man you'll be debating it was something like Abdul Abu Safiya, right? And so they gave him the name. And so they set up this debate. They put the name on the flyers. Jay Smith shows up to the debate, and it's Shabir Ali. Shabir Ali has a daughter named Safiya, right?
Okay.
So Abu Safiya is the father of Safiya. So that's technically his name, right?
Oh.
So they gave him this other name. 2 years later, but Jay Smith went ahead and did the debate. 2 years later, some guy, I think his name's Mark Pickering or something like that, they were setting up a debate, and this was going to be his first debate. He never debated. He asked the Muslim organization to find someone of a similar, experience level to him. So someone
Abu Safiya,
who's totally new. No, it was a different name. It was a different name, but they advertised and stuff. On the day of the debate, he finds out it's Shabir Ali, also, right?
So wait, now, this is a thing.
Yeah. He did something cool. He said, "I'm not debating. You guys deceived me. I'm gone," and he left, right? And so he refused to debate because they deceived him. Now, what's interesting is after that happened, when that was brought up to Muslims, hey, you're deceiving people about the names and so on. And the Muslim response to justify it was, well, when Princess Diana goes by Princess of Wales or whatever, you don't say, oh, you're trying to trick people. That's just another name for her, right? Which is ridiculous, right? No one's confused by these other names, right? Because we know who you're talking about. Right. People are confused and deceived if you give another name to Shabir Ali. That was before I started debating. My first debate ever, though. In my first debate, the Muslim debater, demanded that I agree ahead of time to exchange arguments ahead of time, like whatever it was, a week before the debate or something like that. And so I didn't want. If there's a problem, tell people we'll continue it tomorrow.
Okay, we're back on. I think we're good. Okay, I think we're good. Everyone, can you guys give me a 1 if we're good? I think we're set up. Okay, sorry about that. So picking up right up with the story.
No, I think cut off again, man. Did it?
No, it looks like it's good. It's just a little bit of a delay now. But
people are saying it keeps repeating.
Yeah, but it's good now. There's going to be a delay. If they could just refresh it again.
Okay, they're saying 1. All right.
Okay. All right. So sorry about that. So going back to the discussion. By the way, again, we're back on. Everyone, again, if you can, subscribe to this channel. Hit notifications. I do Christian apologetics with a little bit of a flair. Subscribe to Act 17 if you have not already. He's really hurting for subscribers. It's like one of the he probably has the least amount of subscribers out of any Christian apologist I know of.
Yeah, I'm broke, dude.
Definitely, dude. What do you mean? John McCrae, my man, is in here. Go ahead and drop your link, bro. I want people to subscribe to you. I really hope they do. He was part of Islamicize Me and does the most amazing videos. Anthony Rogers as well. Abu Kamer and Islam Critique. So we have some great YouTubers in here. And I got a lot of people giving love to Christian Prince, so shout out to him too. Okay, so we're back on. We've talked to everybody.
We were talking about those those Shia guys. And so they had this list of things we couldn't bring up, political topics, personal attacks, and so on. Mm-hmm. So we agreed to that. They gave themselves 10 minutes at the end, which is a long concluding statement. So Robert and I finished, and then it was their 10 minutes, and then they broke all the rules they demanded. They start talking about politics. They start personally attacking Robert. blaming him for the Anders Breivik massacre in Norway and stuff like this. And then when their 10 minutes is up, one of the dudes goes, "I just need 2 more minutes," and then they just keep going. It's a Muslim moderator, and then so they keep going, right? And Robert's ready to jump up, and Robert's ready to jump up and freak out, right? And he's leaning over, and I'm holding him down. He's going, they're lying, right? And I go, just chill, look, just let it chill, then we'll leave, and then you don't deal with guys like this anymore. And so as soon as it finishes, Robert stands up, he walks out of the place, and then I sit there and I explain to the guy, that's some messed up stuff, and you don't need to do that. But no, I mean, notice, right? This happens over and over and over again where, hey, here are the rules beforehand. Here's an agreement we're making beforehand. But as soon as we have the opportunity, we're just going to throw that in the garbage. And too bad we tricked you. And if you bring this up, I've found from experience, if you bring it up, most Muslims have no problem with it.
Let's try it right now.
Yeah.
If you are a Muslim, regardless of any sect, regardless of maybe how faithful your practice is, but you self-identify in some way as a Muslim, you're watching this right now. Let's say you're not sure about these accounts or not. Let me just ask you, even say hypothetically, maybe we could say it this way: if this happened, if it happened that an agreement was made beforehand, say with David Wood, about no personal insults, not going off topic, here's the only things we'll discuss, things like that, will be respectful, and then it was broken during the debate multiple times, do you think that's okay or not? Do you think it's justifiable, or do you think it's not okay? Do you think you should be a man of your word, or you think you can break agreements in instances like that? Please let me know. If you're watching this live, put your 2 cents in, and if you're watching later on, put your comments there, and we'll see what folks who are Muslims say. I would love to hear. I would hope they would, well, we'll see. There's a similar thing actually with the audience. The moderator said clapping will be sufficient. Clapping is sufficient. No outbursts, positive or negative. You just clap if you like it. But the audience also did not abide by the rules at all.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm like you. I kind of like being in hostile crowds. I sense if you deal with Hebrew Israelites, you kind of like it when you're in the middle of a crowd of Hebrew Israelites and they're yelling and stuff like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't know why I like that feeling. The crowd was there must have, I'm not counting because the place holds 1,400 people. I don't know if there were people up on the balcony and stuff.
Right.
But the place where I could see was pretty packed, and it was probably 80 to 85% Muslims. But I have no problem with them cheering and stuff. Even if they've been, people can get emotional about stuff. So I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here. The issue that concerned me at first was Mohammed Hijab, starting with the personal attacks, and then when he wasn't stopped, and eventually he was. Eventually the moderator did say, "Hey, stay on topic." But at first when he wasn't, I was thinking setup, right? I was thinking they all conspired. Again, I don't think that now. I got to talk to people afterwards and stuff, so I don't believe that now. But right there during the debate, I was thinking, seriously, you guys just you set this up so that this guy could start with personal attacks, and you get me to agree to it, even though he's just gonna violate it. And this is basically a charade of a debate, and he wanted to come all the way here to the U.S. just to start and telling me to be more like James White and stuff. You could have done that on YouTube. And so it was, the kind of the reason it bothered me is because it had happened so many other times, right? That it happened so many other times over the years that, hey, here are the agreements, and then they fly out the window as soon as the debate starts. So
one Muslim in the live chat, B. Ali, says, "You should have insisted on an atheist moderator. I'm a Muslim, and while I'm no fan of yours, I believe hijab and co have not honor." And B. Ali spelled it with a U, so perhaps he's in a European context. Well, there's one in another. Yep. I put another one on the screen that said, "No, we cannot break contracts." Other people were saying, of course, and I don't think they're Muslims though, are saying, this is taqiyya, at work. So
Well, yeah. What it seems like is basically, if you're critical of Islam, you are such absolute scum that we don't have to honor any agreements with you, right? We can make an agreement and then just violate it because you are that low. And we would kind of understand that after something like Islamicize Me. But again, this was going on since my first debate when most people had no clue who I was. So there's that. But again, at first I thought conspiracy. Now I'm thinking as far as the moderator not jumping in immediately on that. I remember I've moderated probably half a dozen debates over the years, and I remember things happening where I wasn't sure how quickly I should jump in. One was a James White debate I was moderating, and he started speaking, and hundreds of Muslims in the room got up and walked out, and they were. It's because it was their prayer time, and I don't know. Do I just do nothing and let everyone walk out, even though it's massively disrupting and no one's listening to James and stuff because there's this big distraction. And so I just kind of froze and didn't know what to do, when I should have jumped up there and said, hey, everyone's causing a big commotion. I know you have to go pray. So we're going to stop it right here. We're going to let James start over again once you guys get back. So go take your time. Once you get back, James can go on.
Did you say James?
James White.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was James White.
Oh,
I was moderating the debate. It was a James White debate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one yet. I'd like to see that.
It was James White versus Shamsi Ali. I was the moderator. The Muslims got up and walked out when James started speaking, and I should have stopped it, but I didn't. You don't know what to do, right? You've never been in that situation. You didn't think that situation was going to arise,
right?
And so now afterwards, after I spoke to the Muslim Students Association and stuff, and they seemed cool, and especially since towards the end they were clearly getting upset with the audience reactions and things like that, and even stop this, telling them to
Muslims
stop.
don't act this way.
Yeah, it was clear that they were trying to maintain order, but right when it started, I was thinking conspiracy, and so I got pretty ticked off about that.
On behalf,
you guys trying to set me up.
On behalf of some people, it was, in the sense that I think it's clear to all that Mohammed Hijab had no intention ever of agreeing to any of the rules. And
Oh yeah. That is.
But you're saying
with Mohammed Hijab,
yeah.
absolutely. He had no intention of following that rule. He was planning it.
You're saying, hey, credit where credit is due.
I'm defending the moderator. I'm saying when it happened, I was thinking all of these guys conspired together to make this happen. Now I'm just thinking it's Mohammed Hijab, and these other guys, they just didn't know how quickly they should jump in on something like that.
Right, and Mohammed Hijab, he's big and has a beard. This is true. But, it just doesn't seem like the behavior of a man to boldface make an agreement and say you're going to do something while you're not going to do it, and then turn around and literally do the opposite of what you said you were going to do.
Yeah, and it wasn't just that. The moderator contacted me the day before and said that Mohammed Hijab wants to go off topic during the cross-examination and asked me about some things that have nothing to do with the topic. And he said, is that okay? And I said, no, if I'm staying on topic, then he needs to stay on topic. And he said, okay, if you're not allowing that, then he'll have to stay on topic. But then he did it anyway. When he started asking me, back when you did this other debate and you were talking about the Old Testament stuff, it had nothing to do with the topic.
Right.
So he did it anyway. So just no respect for the rules.
Well, I mean, we saw Mohammed Hijab mocking Jay Smith, an older man who is a Christian pacifist, mocking him outright, imitating his body movements. Like, again, something that seems more, it is pretty juvenile.
I didn't watch that, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I'll take
it's on Speaker's Corner. It's on Speaker's Corner while, yes, I'm no Mohammed Hijab. You can take my word for it. But while they're out there at Speaker's Corner, he's imitating. So Jay Smith will go like this, and then Mohammed Hijab will go like this. Mm-hmm. And then Jay Smith will raise his hands up, and Mohammed Hijab will raise his hands and then flexes his muscles and kisses his muscle type of thing,
Jay Smith is critical of Islam, so it's all justified, remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it equals behavior okay to do, first of all, which is different than the Christian ethic. But some Muslims would argue that it's not really what you're supposed to do as a Muslim. I'm saying some Muslims make that argument. But here we got some people in the live chat. We have R.I.P. Osama bin Laden. Says, David is crying. Look at this face, dude. He looks sad as hell.
I look.
That's R.I.P. What's up with looking at your face? What is up with that thing? Because
they love. they just love to say that, right? They love to say that, and they like to say his career is over, right? I had four additional debate challenges from Muslim apologists and from a Christian organization who wanted to set one up at that debate, right? So four more debates to set up at that debate, and yet, it's all over for David. Look at his face. He's weeping. He's got tears streaming down his face.
Yeah. I mean, we do see the attitude. Islam is the truth says, who cares what Hijab did? You do 10 times worser online to Muslims. Mustafa says, David is trash, period. So we can see.
No, by the way, notice what he just said. I do worse to Muslims, right?
Yep.
This is Mohammed Hijab making an agreement with the Muslim Students Association, right? That's with Muslims, right? That's with Muslims.
Also, he's actually breaking an agreement with a Muslim.
And then violating that. But I criticize Muhammad, so I've done something much worse. So you're seeing this is exactly the Islamic mindset, right? Whatever he did. So if he violates an agreement, whatever he's doing, you do worse by criticizing Islam, and therefore it's fine. And by the way, that mindset comes directly out of the Quran. Persecution is worse than slaughter. That's after Muslims slaughter someone during a raid. Well, but they were persecutors in that town, so therefore it's okay to slaughter them.
Well, so how do you think, though, the antics, the theatrics, the bombast, all of that of Mohammed Hijab, how do you think it affected because it began early, how do you think it affected the whole debate in general? How do you think it sort of, what do you think the result sort of that?
Well. Just so you know, I didn't tell anybody this, but I decided to leave. Right when he started, and no one stopped it like the agreement was. I had decided to leave after we had the encounter with the Shia Muslims who violated all the rules that they laid down.
And that was you and Robert Spencer, right?
Yeah. This was after. It was after. So on the day, just keep calm. Let's stick with this. No problem. We just won't deal with these guys anymore. But it was afterwards. I was thinking, no. As soon as they started saying Robert Spencer is responsible for a massacre in Norway and stuff like that, I should have stood up and I said, you can't do this. You're violating your agreement. I should have walked right out of the place. Right.
So maybe there's a thing to learn for the Christians. If you're into apologetics, you're in one of these situations, this happens, because we're not used to this type of behavior. Honestly, I've dealt with a lot of atheists before I started dealing with Hebrew Israelites and Islam as much. With atheists, I had some bad experiences, but I know atheists who had bad experiences with Christians. But I can say this, by and large, my experience with the atheists and the atheist community, they were friendly and cordial, and people, generally speaking, kept their word. Like, it is a radically different experience. It's weird to say that. Like, did I just say, I'm trying to think actually right now live on air, did I just say that atheists act more moral than some Muslims? I don't know. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is a very different thing. Maybe Christians should take note and say, look, when this happens from now on, immediately call attention to the negative behavior. Say exactly what it is. Do not respond in kind, but call attention. For example, I see you breaking our agreement earlier. We agreed to this. You're doing something different. And maybe it's something like, I'm now going to give my statement and then leave because this, or right when you show up, or maybe you give one warning, but call attention to it right when it happens, because it's going to happen again, is what I'm saying to the Christian apologists in the audience.
Yeah, and that was kind of the point, right? It's this thing always catches you off guard, and so you don't know what to do, and so you just sit through it, and then you can only bring it up afterwards. But afterwards, no one really cares, right? So I was kind of wanting to set a precedent, namely, if you are the ones who make now to be clear, I don't care if he insults me, right? He could, for all I care, he could spend his entire opening statement ridiculing David Wood. I don't care. I think it's funny. I think it's funny when people attack me. There's something amusing about it to me. So that's not the issue. Violating an agreement, coming to an agreement beforehand, and then doing that bothers me just because I see it so frequently. And so I was thinking after we debated the Shias, I was thinking next time you just got to set a precedent, walk out. And then for all future debates, they're going to understand if they do it, you're going to walk out. And so they're going to stop doing that. And so when I saw the moderators weren't jumping in, And I thought at the time it was a conspiracy. Just a reminder, if you're jumping in right now, I don't think it was a conspiracy now. Back then, I did. In the heat of the moment, I did. I thought all these guys are conspiring to do this. Then I was thinking, look, I'm gonna get up, say why I'm leaving, and walk out. But then I was thinking, well, why don't I just give the material I wanted to lay down in my opening statement, and go ahead and give that material, and then at the end of it say, because at the beginning I say I think this is going to be epic. I was going to finish it up and say something like, but since he violated, how's this for an epic ending, and walk off stage. And so I was planning on when I got up for my opening statement. Was planning on leaving after finishing my opening statement, getting through that material, basically reading through some of the arguments I had there on my page. But as it kind of went on, I'm slowly thinking, am I overreacting on this, right? Because he only commented on me for like a minute or something like that. Am I overreacting? And by the end, when I put in there that I was going to walk out, because I put that in my notes there. By the end, I changed my mind, and so yeah, I've gotten soft in my old age.
Is that what it is? Hey, to the live chat, we're talking, about decorum and all that, and we want to draw a distinction between sort of attacking ideas. That's a classic part of apologetics and argument and debate is attacking ideas. It's called polemics, and attacking people. And so I see some of you in the live chat, and honestly, it's not really even mainly the Muslims. I mean, I see some nonsense by the folks, and I've read them, but there's a lot of people, and I don't know if you're Christians, I don't know your perspective at all, but some of you are continually saying things that you need to stop saying. So this is not how we operate in this live chat. The moderators see you, they'll put a clamp on it, but, fighting or beating people up or, even mild swear words, we just don't do that. So tone it down or leave. Thank you. Okay, so there was a little bit of a conspiracy theory, though. Someone stole your laptop cord. They stole your power cord.
Oh yeah. That happened. That was before the debate. That's when I was setting up cameras and stuff, and I had my stuff set out, and I turn around, and my laptop cord is gone. And so someone stole my laptop. I don't know if that's a conspiracy. That could have been, any. There were people walking around there, so that could have been any random college student or something like that who needed a laptop cord.
Sure. They just happened to take the guy debating in the front of the. I mean, come on. Bro, I'm more. I don't know, man. It could be. But your $300 tripod also disappeared at the end. Oh,
no. I did just get a message that said they found that. So
really,
They
found it. Okay.
Yeah, and that was the MSA. The MSA messaged me and said, hey, we know you lost your tripod, but we found it. So
that's okay. That's good.
There goes your conspiracy. So laptop cord gone, but.
I like you I like you being charitable. That's nice.
By the way, that was kind of a problem because my laptop is old, right? I can't live stream on my laptop. This is a borrowed laptop, but I had the borrowed laptop in my bag, and you can see me pull out both because my laptop battery will last like 45 minutes. And so but all my stuff is on my Muslim sources. I've got all the main collections of hadiths on there, Quran, Bible, all that stuff. So when I use the source, I didn't have a hard copy of the Quran or anything. So those sources are on my laptop. So then I realized, hey, this is a 3-hour debate, and I'm not going to have my laptop for more than 45 minutes or so. Start trying to figure out how to pull stuff up on the other one, from the internet or something like that. And anyway, it was good. Yeah.
Started. We're talking about future debates and behavior and apologetics. Mohammed Hijab, should Christian organizations ignore him from now on? What should their perspective be going forward with this? Not because he's such a formidable debater, people, please, because of his total lack of integrity in keeping his promises and what he says he's going to do, and the fact that he's more interested in sophist style showmanship than actually education, which is what we're interested in a debate. What do you think, though, going forward, specifically with Mohammed Hijab? What should we do?
Oh, I think people should keep inviting him for stuff, right?
I knew you were gonna say that. Just so everyone knows all these questions. I already know what David's gonna say for the most part. You know what I'm saying? But But go ahead,
Yeah.
David. Tell people why.
Well, okay. Let me let me explain the problem here. And I know we were planning on going for an hour, but you got like 800 and some people on there, so you can keep going. Just so you know, if you want to keep rolling.
I'll stop when you say you're in charge.
Okay.
If I start
Well,
insulting, you can escort me out.
Yeah, we can go. We can go another half hour or so or something like that.
Good. Sounds
But
good.
no, if you think about Christians, kind of have a role in picking the Muslim debaters who become Muslim debaters, right? Like. Because this has happened a lot of times, when some organization or campus, something like this wants to host a debate, they say, David, who's the best Muslim debater out there? And I say, Shabir Ali, right?
Real quick, why do you say Shabir Ali, though?
Because I think he's the best Muslim debater.
No,
right?
but I mean, so let me explain what I'm saying. So what Shabir Ali does, I think, in comparison to most Muslim debaters, is he tries to get into the actual academic world and to utilize arguments that are somewhere within academia. Now, the way he does it is a mismatch and a hodgepodge and inconsistent. However, he's actually pretty sophisticated in a lot of his argumentation. And so that's respect-worthy.
If you compare him to someone like, Zakir Naik or something like this, Shabir's arguments are on another level.
Yeah.
But that's for a Western audience, right?
Yep. That's for the just like
Jamal
Badawi.
Yeah, a Western audience who hears Zakir Naik will think he's an idiot, right? His arguments are so incredibly stupid. He sounds like a moron. The things he's saying.
Not just so everyone's not because of his accent or anything. We're saying his
not that.
Arguments
his arguments are some of the most ridiculous things ever.
Just so everyone knows.
Shabir's arguments sound good even when they're bad, right? Even when we would reject the arguments, but even Shabir's lamest arguments are light years ahead of the arguments of someone like Zakir Naik. But in the East, they love Zakir Naik far, far more than they love Shabir Ali because he's more of a performer. But that's kind of the point, right? When Christians are saying, "Hey, who's the best Muslim debater?" we're thinking, who's the best debater by our standards, right? By our standards, who's calmly presenting information, laying out arguments, documenting sources, things like that. We're not thinking who would be the best according to Muslims, right? Or who best represents Islam, or who is closest to sort of the spirit or the heart of Islam. Because if you think about it, Shabir Ali, he rejects hadiths left and right. He has unorthodox views on a number of issues. Many Muslims condemn him for his views. And so, in a sense, why would we pick him, right? We pick him because we respect his speaking ability and his persuasive ability and his debate skills and so on. But look at someone like Mohammed Hijab. He's saying some really dumb things, right? And you've already started going through some of those.
Right.
He's giving like really, really, really silly responses.
And he makes massive, glaring mistakes, but he does it with bravado.
Yeah. So you could pick any example you want. But so, for instance, when he's questioning the Spirit of God, right? Why we say that the Spirit of God is divine. And, the Spirit of God has the attributes of God, right? It's eternal, it's the creator, it's omniscient and so on. And then he'll just say, but there are 4 spirits in Zechariah, ha! And the audience cheers, yay, you've refuted him. We didn't say every spirit is God. The Spirit of God has the attributes of God and therefore is God, right? We're not saying all spirits are like that. So thinking that, hey, the Spirit of God has these attributes, therefore all I have to do is show that there are other spirits and this refutes your argument is so incredibly ridiculous that you wonder how anyone could not sit back in shock and go, why would you say that? But he says it forcefully and the audience actually cheers for it, right?
Right. So, who in the audience, David, do you think knew who Tertullian and Clement of Rome? Mm-hmm. Who do you think knew who those names were before? What I'm saying? No. And when he's saying he's quoting councils and creeds, does anyone know? For example, Anthony Rogers and I caught this right away. He said divided into 3 persons. He said that was in reference to either Nicene or Constantinople. It literally says the opposite. not indivisible. Not you don't do that with the Trinity.
Yeah.
Maybe someone could even put the exact wording, but it literally is the opposite. So, but who knows that?
No, he's basically copying Adnan Rashid, right? Adnan Rashid argues this material, right? The argument's based on the church fathers and which of the early church fathers gave the later 4th century definitions when, hey, all you Christians base your arguments for the Trinity on the Bible, but let's start talking church history and stuff like that. So he rolls like that. The point is, his response is he has no clue what he's talking about. He's blurting out stuff that doesn't do anything to respond to the objections that are being raised. He responds to things that were never said, right? Like I quoted Isaiah 9:6. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given.
Right.
And this child is going to be called the mighty God. And then he responds by, bringing up Emmanuel, right? I didn't bring that up, right? He says, they say David says Emmanuel means God with us, but Elijah, and then he doesn't even get that right? So he doesn't even get that right. And he's responding to something.
He said that Elijah also means God with us, so therefore, Elijah must be God too.
Yeah. So notice, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
By the way, everyone, it means my God is Yahweh.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
So he has no clue what he's talking about. He's responding to something I never said, but the crowd is, you've refuted David Wood's point, a point I never made. I made a completely different point, right?
Right. Did you notice that by the end of the debate, during the audience Q&A, things were so bad, meaning the crowd was so revved up, that when an audience member would ask a question, before any response, before anything happened, the audience would give a question. The audience would cheer and clap in response to the question. They're just full out ramped up. But you know what? Here's what's sad, and you pointed this out to me, but I want to talk a little bit just for a second. You notice the people in the audience, by and large, responded favorably to this. And these are a lot of college students, not everybody, but this is New York City in the United States of America. They weren't booing his bad behavior. Mm-hmm. This is going to increase his popularity in the Islamic apologetics world because they want Muhammad. They don't want Shabir.
That's exactly the point, man. Right. So we again, we have a role in picking the debaters, right? And we pick people who debate in ways that are persuasive to Western Christians,
like professorial.
Yeah.
But
I've again, Shabir. He's wrong, and sometimes he's defending absurd positions, but his defenses for those absurd positions are often very sophisticated, based on really, really putting together some serious research. He has to stretch a lot of things in order to get his conclusions.
He's pretty creative.
But he's going through a lot of books.
Yeah, he's pretty creative.
And Mohammed Hijab, he's just blurting out complete nonsense that he's heard like in conversation. Doesn't get the names right, doesn't get things right. And the crowd is cheering for everything he's done. I've never seen a crowd that excited for Shabir Ali. So we should be thinking, who is actually persuasive to Muslims? Who do they want as their debater? And clearly, they want people like Mohammed Hijab. Now, Christians are thinking, but we don't want people like Mohammed Hijab debating. Right. We don't want people who are up there shouting, insulting, spouting nonsense, working the crowd into a frenzy to cheer on anything he says. We don't want people like that debating. But what I would say is, think about it. That gives people, even Westerners, a much better glimpse of the real heart of Islam, right? Than Shabir Ali. I mean, seriously, do you think Shabir Ali, using hyper skeptical textual critics and stuff like that all of them would regard the Quran as complete nonsense, but he doesn't apply the same reasoning to the Quran? That him going in there, calmly presenting these skeptical positions, rejecting hadiths, having unorthodox views do you think that is a good reflection of Islam? Or do you think it's stirring up the mob? Right?
Shabir Ali, he ain't getting no Allahu Akbars. Shabir Ali, he's not going to get any takbirs, which happened at least twice that I heard during the debate last night. There's 2 times that I think there was a takbir Allahu Akbar call and response that I heard of from the crowd. By the way, Elvis Bose gave in the super chat. I want to read this. Greetings from Brazil. My wife left Islam and embraced Jesus because of you guys. Praise God. Elvis, praise God. That's a testimony. We'd love to hear more about it. Praise God. Everyone pray for Elvis's wife because now she's on the journey of discipleship. Praise God. Okay, so that's an interesting perspective, David. And
yeah. So anyway, the point there is, yeah, we don't like that approach, but that's the heart of Islam right there. So let Westerners see that, right? When you want to set up a debate on your college campus or something like that, invite Mohammed Hijab, right? Let him blast the speakers, right?
David Wood booking gigs for Mohammed Hijab.
Let him insult people. Let him give horrible arguments that shows he's completely ignorant of the topics he brings up. There are Muslims in the crowd who will cheer no matter what he says, no matter how ridiculous it is. There are people who will watch on YouTube and think, he clearly shouted the other guy down. So, wow, he was much more powerful. But the people who are actually paying attention and following arguments will be horrified at that. But they're going to learn something. They're going to learn something about Islam.
So you think it's good, even if maybe they're not as educational in the formal sense of didactic knowledge, those kinds of debates with more lay-level, popular, grassroots Islamic apologists are educational because they show the sort of the behavior and ethos of sort of a large, vibrant section of Muslims.
Yeah, let me put it a little differently. When Shabir Ali is the Muslim debater that people see on college campuses, people are getting a false impression of what Islam is like, right? When someone like Mohammed Hijab or something like that comes on, I'm not shaking your hand, right? No, that sort of thing.
By the way, that's in the Hadith. I know you know, but I'm just telling everybody else that's in the Hadith. So do you remember what the reference is or what it says exactly?
No.
Someone looked that up, but anyways, go ahead.
So the idea is someone like Mohammed Hijab shouting people down, putting the kuffar in their place, breaking the rules because the Christians are just scum anyway. That person gives people a true impression of Islam, and we don't want that because we don't want to see people shouting other people down or insulting people. But that gives you a much better glimpse of what Islam actually is like. And when you see the crowd cheering for that, you realize the people like that more, right? And just to be clear, we're not talking about all Muslims here, right? There were again the head of the Muslim Students Association. He did not like that. He told the people to stop. There are Muslims who do not like that. I'm saying that Islam, on just by probabilities here, it produces far more people with that mindset, and people need to be aware of it because it's in a different category and it's not nearly as serious. But in Muslim countries where you criticize Muhammad and a crowd stirs up and beats you to death in the streets, right? It's completely different, but the mob mentality that it produces is part of Islam, and that's why it will do it anywhere. And we shouldn't be trying to cover that up. So I know there are people who don't like Mohammed Hijab, who don't want to see him given a platform. But you need to be thinking about whether people are actually going to be educated about Islam. So I would say, let him do it. Let him spout a bunch of nonsense. Let the crowd cheer for all the ridiculous things he's saying, and then dissect them afterwards, right? And expose them.
Well, we're trying to dissect them afterwards. So I put out a video that shows how a lot of stuff that he said about the lack of attestation to the Holy Spirit's deity or eternality is not present in the Ante-Nicene Church Fathers, for example, as well as some other things showed how that was incorrect, and he got it all wrong. I'm getting hit on YouTube with a privacy violation. Is that what's going to happen? I mean, the attitude that was displayed in the pre-debate interviews was sort of MMA-ish, WWE-ish, and yet then you make a 6-8 minute video criticizing. And by the way, same thing happened to Islam Critiqued, who took him to town on his language blunders. Then they're gonna try to get the videos taken down. What's that all about?
Yeah, guys, this is pay attention to this, and this will be worthy of like a separate video, right? To repeat, Vocab and Islam Critiqued took some clips of what Mohammed Hijab said and then made videos responding to it, right? Responding to his arguments or challenges. And he filed privacy or copyright violations.
Privacy. It was a privacy complaint.
With YouTube saying that content has to be removed. Now think about this, right? He's basically saying you can't take a clip of him and respond to it, even though, I mean, has he put me in his clips? I'm assuming he has, right?
Yeah. They love the picture of you in a certain outfit, for example.
Oh yeah, when we were making fun of Muhammad.
Yeah, they love. Because I watch their stuff.
They do that.
They've done that to you, yes.
Yeah. Now think about this. There are thousands, probably tens of thousands of Muslim videos taking clips of my videos and responding to them, right? It's never once crossed my mind, I need to file copyright, with YouTube or privacy claim or something like that. Never crossed my mind, because that would be a coward's move, right? My material's out there. You want to criticize it, criticize it. Then I'm open to criticism. For Mohammed Hijab to make all these claims and then say, but I have to silence people, I have to shut people down when they're answering the things I've said or showing that the things I've said is false. That is a complete, utter, total coward's move. And I don't care if he's 6'6", he is a coward if he's having people take down these kinds of videos. I can't think of a Muslim right now that I regard as more of a coward if he's doing that, right? All the Muslims out there, Ijaz Ahmed, Yahya Snow, all of these guys, none of these guys are near the level of coward that this guy is if he's actually trying to have your videos taken down.
Yeah, I put a screenshot of it on Twitter so people can see it. And like I said, the same
guys,
thing happened to Islam Critique.
if you see anyone else who does that, because I'll make a separate video out of that, and the video will be called "Mohammed Hijab is a total coward."
Yeah, so if you guys see that video disappear, it's because YouTube's doing their investigation. They give me a certain amount of time where they say, hey, you can take it down or let it stay, and then we'll investigate it, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, but yeah, that's going on as well, trying to silence. I mean, that just seems like bad behavior by certain that seems like a cheap way to get Sharia almost, like no criticism of your position. Yeah. It's like,
well, first of all, it's totally bogus, right? You guys are using clips of a public debate, right? Not private pictures of him or something like that, or something secret. Right? That's a private. Yeah. Using a clip of a public debate, that's called fair use. That is completely, utterly, totally within the rights on YouTube. So he knows either he's totally stupid and doesn't know what he's talking about, or he knows that this is completely bogus, right? And he's doing it anyway, hoping that it causes trouble for you at some point. But yeah, that's just a coward's move. But notice it's the same thing, right? Hey, I get to blast you guys, attack you guys, criticize you guys. As soon as you critique what I said back, I run to YouTube like a coward and try to have them take your stuff down. This is pathetic, guys. And for real, I don't know. I mean, this is yelling insults and stuff. That's totally different. This is a different level. If I heard about a Christian doing this, saying, "Oh, he criticized what I said, I'm going to have his stuff taken down," I would think the Christian is a total coward, right? So yeah, this is bad stuff.
And that reminds me, sort of in general, sort of the differences in the communities as far as the reactions. If there was a Christian apologist who debated in a similar fashion that Mohammed Hijab did, like wouldn't shake an atheist's hand before a debate, and that video got out. Imagine, Frank Turek won't shake Michael Shermer's hand or something, and that video got out. And then that Christian said things like, I'm done with this guy. I don't even need more time. I'm done with this guy. Mm-hmm. Things like that during the debate. If a Christian said something like, during the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition, I'm proud of that behavior. I'm proud, kind of like Mohammed Hijab said he was proud of Islam's military victories. He said, we're not ashamed of those, by the way. Anything like that. Most Christian organizations would steer way clear of them. They'd be disinvited, all kinds of things, right? There was sort of be a self-policing action. A few people like Steven Anderson might say, hey, you're my guy. They might call him up, right? But by and large, Christians would say, hey, you need to cut that out, right? There'd be, what I'm saying? How it would be detrimental to their sort of apologetic career. Mohammed Hijab acts this way, you're going to see his star rise.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the way people are talking about him.
Oh yeah.
So it shows you the differences. It doesn't mean the Christians are perfect or we're a perfect community. No one's saying that. But the self-correction and the like ability to feel guilt or shame for that kind of behavior, it's not there. It's all seen as part of the package. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And so I guess we should realize that.
Yeah, and that's why I said that people should be fine with him. People like Muhammad getting up on stage and stuff. See that people like Mohammed Hijab, they're thinking short term. They're thinking, how can I get this victory? How can I shout this guy down or something like that? Not, hey, in the long run, this is disastrous, right? When people pick apart everything I was saying, and then show that people were cheering and shouting for absolute nonsense that was completely wrong. They're not thinking like that. They're just thinking like, in the moment, what can I do to shout this guy down? But don't be worried about that. Let them do their shouting, dissect what they say afterwards, get it all out there. He's going to throw a tantrum over it. They're going to try and file complaints with YouTube and stuff like that to try and get it taken down. But YouTube's usually pretty good about getting through those things. And so you expose that they're trying to shut the information down, and you get past that, and then people see it. People see what's going on.
Let me just ask a few more questions, David. Some specifics of the debate that I think people might want to know. So just heart to heart, man to man, friend to friend, how do you think and feel about the debate now? From your perspective, not really all the stuff we've talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what you did or didn't do, especially,
Well,
where are you at with that?
Well, when I planned on leaving, and then I'll just put a line real quick where I was supposed to leave after that, and then I didn't, and so I just, okay, don't leave. Just you can see where I kind of fumble over my words there at the end, because that's where I was going to leave, and then so I just read something else, and then so I went to some notes and started reading something, and then stopped because it wasn't working. And then I went and sat down, and then I was thinking, why didn't I leave? Why didn't I leave? Why didn't I leave? And so he starts responding, and I'm still thinking, why do I leave? And then he starts up with the insults again and stuff. And I'm thinking, do I leave now? Do I walk out now? Well, if I don't say why,
of the rule violation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and, if I just walk out randomly, people think, oh, he's just, he's scared of Muhammad's awesome arguments. I have to say why I'm doing it. So should I do it when I'm speaking next? But basically, for my rebuttals, I was planning on defending the deity of Christ. I was planning on spending a good part of my rebuttals defending the deity of Christ, and in two ways, sort of conceptually and factually. I was going to go through basically four ways historically that we can look to what Jesus claimed to be. Historically, you can look at what Jesus said, you can look at what Jesus did, you can look at what others said about him, and you can look at what others did about him. And if you look at any one of those areas, you find that Jesus was claiming to be far more than a mere human being. If you're looking at his claims, that's easy. If you're looking at the things he did, like performing miracles in his own name or forgiving sins and things like that. And I don't just mean, hey, I forgive you of your sins. He's pronouncing people's sins are forgiven. The religious leaders rightly responded, who can do this but God? If you're looking at what others said about him, that's pretty easy. People were calling him Lord and God. And if you look at what others did about him, you've got basically his followers who ended up bowing down and worshiping him. And you've got the people who rejected him. They're saying he needs to die for blasphemy. This isn't what happened if you're just a normal human being telling people to believe in God, as Islam would expect us to believe. So I thought I could say that pretty quickly, and I intended to. And then I wanted to do something where, I don't know what to call it, maybe a chronology of the Christ or a brief history of God the Son or something like that, where I sort of take them through the biblical passages that talk about, first about his eternal nature, his deity. So, John 1:1, Philippians 2, some of these passages which talk about his eternal nature, and then get to the incarnation and the kenosis. So him self-emptying to take on human nature and become a human being. And then it's in that context of being a human, where you find these claims that Muslims like to point to. Oh, he says the Father is greater. Right? Well, of course. What state is he in right now? Right? What state is he in? And then after his resurrection, when he's glorified again, and then so you get to other passages like the end of the Gospel of Matthew, where all authority is given to him in heaven and on earth, right? Because he gets back the glory that he had with the Father from all eternity past. So I wanted to put all these passages together because I thought it would explain a lot of passages that Muslims bring up, and they don't understand how God can say these things because they're not understanding the historical context of them. So I was going to do, that was the plan. But then as all of this was going on, and I still think there's a conspiracy afoot, and that these guys all got me into something here, and he's going on personal attacks and running his mouth, and this isn't the friendly debate that we were demanded to have, the respectful debate that we were instructed to have. This is the first time in my entire life as a Christian where I'm thinking, don't throw pearls before swine. And for people who don't understand, it's not calling people swine. This is called an analogy, all right? You're supposed to get this mental picture so that you can understand something else. But Jesus said, don't throw your pearls before swine. And the point there is, human beings appreciate pearls, swine don't, right? A pig does not care about a pearl, right? So why would you start trying to impress a pig with a pearl and giving pearls to a pig? But I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, if this is really an insult battle, a screaming fest, and the crowd is going to mindlessly shout for anything Mohammed Hijab says, no matter how ridiculous, that means they're not paying attention. They don't care. They want to see people shouted down. Mohammed Hijab doesn't care. He has no integrity. He's violating the rules. He's not paying attention. Why am I going to share this information that I've come to bring them, assuming that they're actually trying to get to the bottom of this? So instead of going ahead with what I intended to speak on, I thought I will put that in videos for people who actually care. Instead, I'll just respond to some of his responses to some of the passages that I brought up on Tawheed. And then in my second rebuttal, he was making such a big deal about his 4 questions. I thought, okay, I'll answer these 4 questions. And conclusion, as you know, they switched it.
Yeah, why did they switch that?
No explanation. No explanation.
So that was just done without. And were they going to skip over yours?
No, they were gonna skip my last question, and then I pointed out, hey, you didn't give me my last question, and then then they switched the order, which is for people who don't know about debate, going first or going second each have a different kind of advantage. Going first, you get to sort of set things up, set the stage, be first to speak. You get to present your case first, right? The advantage of going second is that you're the one who gets to speak last. You sort of get the last word. So Mohammed Hijab got the first and the last word. Now, to be fair, since talking to the MSA and stuff afterwards, I don't think that was deliberate. I don't think if that's the first debate they've ever hosted and they're not big on debates and they don't watch debates, they might not know the different advantages, or you might think, oh, okay, well they're going back and forth, so I could just pick one and he can give his conclusion. So they might not know. So I'm not thinking there's anything diabolical there, but yeah, at this time when I'm still in my, hey, there's a conspiracy afoot. It was just in my mind the entire time of, if these guys really just got here for an insult fest, then what I need to do is I need to keep calm, not feed into it, and get through this, respond to the questions and things that I have to respond to. Other than that, not terribly interested. So it affected in that sense. It affected the material I was bringing, and I was not fully engaged. I was not fully engaged mentally. After that, it was, hey, you guys got me here. Again, I don't think that was the case now. I don't think it was this big conspiracy, but I think that was Mohammed Hijab's intention, right? Like, we need to get a debate so that we can blast David Wood. Yeah. And I have no problem with that. He could have just said that, right? He could have said, David, I want to come to the United States and stand in front of a camera and tell you what I really think about you. And I was like, fine, that's fine. If he wants to do a live stream where he wants to tell me all his thoughts, fine. You don't make me travel. You don't make me, travel. Because for people, I don't live in New York City anymore, right? I had to drive 7 hours to get there. So not really big on that. So as far as my thoughts on the debate, it's if his intention were really to just have a debate, that thing would have gone very differently. I would have presented some different things. But I think I think his real goal was to get in this shout fest. Now, he's probably hoping I would join in. I didn't, but he at least had a dual goal, right? At least it's at the best case scenario, it was get some points in against the Trinity, and I get to blast David Wood. It's either that or the debate part was just a sham, and the real goal was just to insult. And for just again, in case people are tuning in, I have no problem with the insulting and so on. It's mainly we're setting up a debate, and we're at a college, and there are multiple organizations that are putting this together.
Be a man of your word.
And they had demands and say, we have to do this, and we have to be respectful and no insults and things like that. And we agreed to that, and then should just go out, and that this is the plan all along. Again, just at the time, I was thinking it was everyone's plan. Towards the end, I'm thinking that's Mohammed Hijab's plan, and the other people just weren't consistent in stopping it.
Be a man of integrity. That's all.
Yeah, it just becomes when someone's doing all the shouting and stuff, it just becomes clear at some point that this is not an actual exchange of ideas and stuff like that.
Right.
And I'm fine with that, right? I mean, that's why I'm like Speaker's Corner, where it is a shouting match. I'm fine with that, right?
Well,
I'm fine if people want. Yeah, I'm fine if we want it.
What he did is he brought Speaker's Corner to Queens.
Yeah.
That was his intention the whole time. But let me ask you this, David. Would you do it again?
No, I would totally do it again. I would insist beforehand, hey, either don't have rules, right? Either don't have rules about conduct, or enforce the rules. And if I understand that it's really a shouting match, and we're not really giving information, you'd be more slogan oriented, right? You'd be more slogan oriented than trying to lay out information. But yeah, those are my thoughts, right? I like being in a crowd like that. I have no problem being insulted, but when it was actually going on, I'm still thinking about all the past interactions where Muslims, demand that we agree to rules ahead of time and then completely violate them. And I was thinking I should get out of there. And the whole time why am I not getting out of here and stuff? And I never did. But it does. What kind of the real issue is, it just, it affects what you're doing, right?
Yeah, it changes the nature, and you have to go at it.
You kind of lose interest, right? It's like your heart's not in it anymore, right? It's like I now regard this entire thing as a sham, right? I kind of regard this as a sham. So give your points, get through it, and stuff like this. But yeah, it kind of changes things, and
But people people were proud and glad and happy to not see you stoop down. You were saying thank you, and you didn't once insult. It wasn't like that at all. Now afterwards, people might be surprised, David. You had some really fruitful, beneficial conversations with large groups of Muslims.
Oh yeah, well, no, we hung out for like, I don't know, three 3.5 hours.
So who's we? David Wood and 60 Muslims?
It was a bunch of different groups, right? So at first people are like coming up to me for selfies and stuff. The Christians who are there, and first we're on stage, then they kick us off the stage, right? Because we're in a big place, so they kick us off stage. So then we're like in the seats section, and then they tell us to get out of there. So we go out into the foyer, and then we're out there, and
what were you guys talking about?
Well, in the foyer, then Ali Dowell was coming up to me, and he's trying to get me to say, that I would kill kids, right?
Wait, hold on.
This is something.
What?
This is something from years ago where we're at a debate, and Adnan Rashid starts asking me, well, what if God commanded you to kill kids?
Wow.
And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm a psychopath. In some world where God commanded me to kill kids, I'd be killing kids, right?
Well, you just said it for Ali Dawah. Thanks, bro.
No, I said it to him there, right? I said, look, here's what I know what I am, right? Just so people know, right? There were Nazis who were throwing kids into furnaces and stuff like this,
gosh.
right? I mean, they were gassing them.
Can we go to
right?
the next question?
No, the point here is,
No.
I don't do that sort of thing because I'm not allowed, right? I am commanded to love everyone, to harm no one, to live in peace with everyone. If I were in some alternative, and I said, you know, if I believed in Islam, I'd be a jihadi. There's nothing holding me back from doing that. If I had been a Nazi, I would have been killing people. There's nothing inside of me that stops me from doing that, except that I'm a Christian, right? So that's what he wants me to say, so he can go post that. And I'm fine with that, right? And, you know, I know as soon as he posts a Muslim, David Wood admits he would kill kids, blah, 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 because that's how they roll. But you just, you know, you have to do it.
You were having a good conversation with other guys, and that's all he's doing. So he's kind of...
Yeah. So that's what he does. That's the style, right? Because keep in mind, and this is fundamental.
Dude.
We go after ideologies. They go after people, right? Their goal is not to refute your argument. It's to discredit the person, right? So they want a bunch of videos discrediting David Wood, right? And I'm fine with that, right? Give me all the attention I want. So anyway, that was out there in the foyer and stuff like this. Then they kick us out of there, so we go across the street, and it's in this cafeteria place. And then it ends up being Ali Dawah, a guy named Akil who's there. But then, that's when there's like a crowd of like 50 Muslims gathered around. And a woman, she brought up during the Q&A, she brings up Aisha or something like that. But she comes up to them and she starts asking about Aisha again. So anyway, we get into this little discussion.
I remember her. That lady was gangsta.
Yeah, we get into a little discussion about Aisha, but there's a big crowd of Muslims gathering around. And eventually the police decide that this is a fire hazard, so they disperse the crowd. And so it's just those of us who are sitting there. Then they kick us out of there, so we go to a different area of this place, and we're sitting down having a discussion there. Then they kick us out of there, so we actually go out on the street. And out on the street, it's me and Akil, and then it's cool because Hamza Abdul Malik, who's a guy James White debated years ago, and he became a Quran-only Muslim.
Oh.
Comes out there, but he starts schooling people, right? And he starts agreeing with me. He's like, yeah, and that's why you got him on that point about Allah praying, right? And because he rejects so much of what your average Orthodox Muslim who accepts the Hadith believes, and he's out there agreeing with me. Then he starts just schooling these guys on the Quran and saying that you don't need to obey the Hadith and stuff like this. It's the Quran. Muhammad's basically a mailman and stuff. And so yeah, it was pretty cool. And one thing that came out of that was for years I've called Akil a stalker. In fact, I've called him a stalker, right? And it's because I showed up at a studio one day where I was going to be on a show. And I go in there and someone says, hey, someone named Akil called and he said, tell David I'm looking for him. And I don't know on what planet that is normal behavior, but I was like, I'm blocking this dude off everything because, you know, I'm not.
Well, I don't know about what planet, but I can think of a couple of countries in which that's acceptable behavior.
Yeah, so I just blocked him from everything, and everyone asked me why, and because he posts videos about me, and they're like, David, why are you running from Akil? I'm like, look, the dude's got stalker issues, so I'm not. And so when I showed up to the debate, he goes, so am I stalking you? And I go, you're here, aren't you? And so, but afterwards, when we were talking, it turns out that he's actually pretty cool, right? I can get along with some people and I can't get along with others, and he's like someone that I could get along with, and so it's kind of interesting it's kind of interesting that there are people you can't get along with online, and it's nothing but, nothing but rage and anger and cutting people off and stuff like that. But if you're actually sitting down in person, you can actually get along with them and something like that. So anyway, turns out I get along with Akil.
That's good to hear, though. In all seriousness, that's good. Good to hear. It's also good to hear that after the debate, you're able to have like good conversation with a large group of people. It sounds like that was a positive experience afterwards. I'm glad that you did that. Speaking of things during the debate and all that, Renee was talking about someone who became a believer that very day, and they said part of the reason was the work that you've done. Renee was sharing that earlier, which was pretty encouraging. That very day.
I met a couple of people there who said that. They came up to me. Yeah.
Praise God.
Couple people said they become Christians watching my videos and stuff.
And I could tell, they try to use other pretense and things, but I could tell that's really what bothered Mohammed Hijab. He was like, this guy gets weak Muslims. Mm-hmm. Remember, he was saying that.
People he would regard as weak Muslims, because a strong Muslim is someone who would never consider any argument against Islam, never consider it, take it seriously, never think about any alternative to Islam.
Yeah, wouldn't allow any type of free inquiry.
Yeah, basically, so people who are actually, this is not according to me, this is according to him, anyone who's actually capable of rationally examining Islam and rejecting it is the sort of person who might listen to me, right? So,
right.
Okay, I agree, right? You have to be able to rationally examine these kinds of issues.
All right, well, David, there's more to say. We could do a part 2 on this. Obviously, the interest is high. There's still, 860-some people watching, but at the same time, we wanted to keep this in a certain length for future viewing.
Did you want to go through a few comments, since it's,
yes, but
you're at 1 hour and 40, so if you wanted to go through a couple comments and...
Well, there's one other thing that I'll ask you this. What about this? I'd rather do this if we could. There's some great comments in here, but what about this if we can do one more? You gave some pretty sophisticated. In fact, I think they were so nuanced. To be honest, I think they flew over the audience's head, unfortunately. But your arguments against Tawheed, they were multi-leveled, and I don't think actually the import of what you were actually saying was sort of grasped. Mohammed Hijab tried to dismiss them. In fact, he would even say, "Oh, I'm not going to get into that," or "That's not worth talking about," or he'd give one-line response and then say, "I've dismissed your argument," almost like speech act theory, where by saying something, it actually is a reality. He seems to be under that impression. There's a lot of stuff he never dealt with. If people were wondering, that's why Mohammed Hijab had so much extra time, because he didn't actually deal with the arguments. So he just kind of dismissed them. But do you your arguments against Tawheed were good, but if you could have done them differently, would you? Repeated yourself more, hammered it home? Like, the audience, I don't know if they caught the arguments against Tawheed, but can you talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was a key part of the debate that sort of got missed in all the antics.
Yeah, well, so basically before the debate, I recognized that almost every debate on Trinity versus Tawheed in history focused either entirely or almost entirely on the Trinity. And Muslims never have to defend Tawheed.
He never even gave it a defense for Tawheed, of course.
Yeah, so, and notice the hypocrisy, right? Because later on he's like, and David just wants to keep attacking Islam. Well, you spent your entire opening statement talking about the Trinity, right? And by the way, the crowd cheered. Yes, he just attacks Islam, this horrible person. He attacked our view. He spent his entire opening statement attacking the doctrine of the Trinity. They just don't notice stuff like that, right? So I wanted to make sure that we actually brought up some points with Tawheed. I should point out, since I don't know if I should be pointing out, but some arguments are serious and very important. Other arguments that I use are kind of not serious, in the sense that I understand there's a pretty simple a response that you can give, but I want you to give that response because I want to use it. Right? In other words, just to give you an example, I ask Muslims, hey, you've got that guy in Florida who burned a Quran, but I thought the Quran is Allah's eternal speech. How can you burn Allah's eternal speech? And the point there is to get them to understand that according to Islam, the Quran has two natures, right? It can have a physical nature in our world, but it also has an eternal nature. So the point of getting them to realize that is not for me to prove something about the Quran. It's to help them understand how Jesus can be God with a human nature, right? How the Word can become flesh. Some of the points with Tawheed, I'm dead serious about, right? Like Islamic reverence for the Kaaba and for the black stone and for Muhammad, drinking his blood, rubbing the saliva on the face, talking to him in prayers. Dead serious.
Are you basically trying to say that looks like shirk? I mean, what's the essence of those arguments?
The idea is if Muslims saw any other person doing this in any other religion, they would call it paganism and idolatry and everything. For some reason, when they do the exact same thing that the pagans do, they just call it oneness. They just say, but it's oneness when we do it, right? Right. And so something like that. The chapters of the Quran becoming, there are flocks of birds that carry your prayers.
He never dealt with that, did he?
No, not really. He just said, no, they're not persons. So he totally missed the point of it, right? Which he doesn't understand what we mean by persons. But it doesn't matter. Don't call them persons. What do you want to call them? The pagans of Mecca believed in these goddesses who go to Allah to plead on your behalf. Every Muslim on the planet would recognize that as polytheism. They were these bird goddesses who would fly up to Allah. And so Allah is the supreme God, but he's got these bird goddesses who can intercede for you. And then Muhammad rejects that, calls it polytheism. But chapters of the Quran are going to be these birds who go to Allah, who fly up to Allah to plead for you and intercede for you. They're doing the exact same thing that the pagan goddesses did, but Muslims will just say, but it's oneness when we do it. It's no problem when we do it.
So it looks like polytheism. It looks like polytheism. It looks like polytheism under the name of Tawheed. Yeah.
They just name it Tawheed, which again, that means unification. That doesn't mean this oneness as it gets presented. That means unification. That's why, I'm confused about this. So you've got those kinds of issues, and then I was dead serious about Allah praying. If it were just what the Quran says, just the places where the Quran says that Allah does his salah, I would say, okay, maybe you've got some other meaning of like that or something. But when it's in the Hadith too, and even Muslim translators are acknowledging that these passages are saying that Allah prays, I say, look, because specifically because Muslims complain about Jesus praying, you guys have to answer for this. And what they do is they just try to translate it as something else that the words don't mean. And so they've just got a problem here. So those kinds of issues I'm serious about. A couple other issues, I'm mainly trying to get them to look for a response. So when I said that the Quran says everything except Allah's face will perish, right? Everything except his face will perish. I understand that you can give a response. Now, you can make a very serious objection out of that because the Quran claims to be clear. And so if the Quran claims to be clear, then Allah should be speaking clearly. And if he clearly speaks about different body parts and he says only this part is going to last, the other, everything else is going to perish, you could point out that, hey, this is a challenge to the clarity of the Quran or something like that. So you could do that. But I wasn't meaning it in a very strict sense. What I wanted the sort of standard Muslim response, which the standard Muslim response to that is when it says Allah's face, then it's indirectly including all the rest of Allah. Even though it says everything except his face will perish, that still includes all the rest of the parts of Allah, even though it just only says his face, right? And the reason for that is if you're saying what the text says is only his face is everything except his face is going to perish. So the only thing that doesn't perish is his face. But you're saying that really includes all the rest of Allah because Allah is one. Then when Muslims bring up like chapter 17, verse 3 of the book of John, and it says, when Jesus is talking to the Father and says, you're the only God. And they say, aha, so the Father is the only God, so the Holy Spirit and Jesus are not God. Then at that point, the response will be, look, if you can say Allah's face is the only thing that won't perish, and that includes all of the rest of Allah, then you can't say when we say the Father is the only God, that this excludes the Holy Spirit and Jesus because they're one, just as you would say all the parts of Allah are one. So there are certain circumstances where I give an argument just to elicit a response that I can then use to respond to objections, but never even got that far, right? Never even got that far in the debate to kind of go through verses that Muslims bring up. So basically, yeah, some of the things about Tawheed, no, I don't think there's any serious Muslim response. If you've got chapters of the Quran as flocks of birds that are conscious and know what you've been doing and are interceding on behalf of the Muslims who recite them, you're dealing with some very, very strange things that are behaving in exactly the same way that the pagan goddesses did, and you just have no basis for complaining about the Trinity.
Yeah, agreed. And again, did Mohammed Hijab really make any kind of defense for Tawheed? It just seemed like it was all polemics, not a lot of apologetics. From what I
don't remember. I don't remember him giving any defense of Tawheed.
Yeah. So look, there's some great comments. It looks like Anthony Rogers just dropped a video. What's up, DJ Castro? By the way, it looks like he just dropped a video, and in that one, he's gonna also break down the errors that were made in Hebrew, I believe, by Mohammed Hijab. Watch out, Anthony. That video will get charged with a privacy violation because whenever you expose Mohammed Hijab, that's what happens.
Well, that's cool then, because again, this would be a pretty interesting video to to put together. Everyone he's trying to get blocked.
Right. Well, David, so we've got a lot of people in the super chat. I don't even know if I can give them all shout outs. Some people want me to beatbox because or want me to freestyle, but I don't know if this is the right show for that or if we should save it. I already owe people one, but I'm feeling like we should end pretty soon here.
Yeah.
Should we end with a freestyle or should I save it?
It's up to you, man.
Well, if you're willing to beatbox.
How long are you going to go? Because sometimes you'll freestyle for like half an hour.
We could just end with a freestyle.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. We're going to do it. Listen, we're fools for Christ. Listen, to all the super chatters, much love to y'all. There's Anthony, I want to play that video, but we got to get out of here. So I encourage everyone to check it out. Put the link in there, please. The way it works is if we get over a certain amount, we do certain things. So we are going to freestyle. And so David's going to break the beatbox. And then this is good practice because you and I are going to be seeing each other next week along with John McCrae. And maybe we could do a little bit more there. By the way, this is just Apologist having fun, everyone. We're not trying to start a career. And this is just kind of
we're not trying to be an actual rap duo.
Yeah, it's fun, but
wait a minute, my apologetics career is over. So
yeah, you're right. David Wood, you said several career-ending statements just in your rebuttal alone.
Yeah.
And since your apologetic career is over, maybe you do have a future as the White Dougie Fresh.
Got to be him, man.
All right, I'm glad you brought that up because if there's any A&R people watching this, David Wood needs a new job. All right, David Wood needs a new hijab. Sorry. Okay. All right. Sorry.
You get goofy after 2 hours, man.
That's pretty much right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, get as close as you can to the mic because I'm gonna need to hear this. You know what I'm saying?
How close do I need to get?
Just
here,
close to make it loud. Let's do it. Turn your volume up.
What if I? Is that louder? I need to get closer.
That should work.
Okay.
Here we go, everybody.
Ready?
It's time. All right, let's do it, homie.
All right, here we go.
2, 2, 1. Vocab Malone, I spit those verbs. Props to the man named Brian Weinberg. What's up? I know who I are. Props to Lily. Her last name is R, not a superstar like B. Garci. David Wood with vocab the MC. Michelle Marie. She's in the super chat. Tom S is cool. I see a black cat. Whatever is in your avatar. We rock the mic. David drove a car all the way. He's going to Queens. We keep it clean when we rap. It's not obscene like Mohammed Hijab. Sorry, I made myself laugh. Yo, you're dying out. Keep it louder. Okay, we going. Vocab is flowing. What's up, Tatiana? You know I be knowing. I see you in the chat. I see Rocky too. I see Jesus Christ. That's weird. I see Abu. And plus Sean Mahmood. Who else I see? The General, what up, dude? Yes, we keep it prudent. Props to the person named Top Student. Okay, here we go with the ill type of flow. What's up, Swordsman? Carito. Okay, I grab the mic. What's up, Christian for Christ? Hello, how you doing? We're having a good night. It's Vocab. Vocab Malone. Props to Rocky Flintstone. Yo, I can't really hear the beat. Elizabeth Salvatore had to delete a couple comments. I'm rocking like a comet. Here we go again. Now let's be honest. Don't be dishonest like Muhammad. Here we go again. You know we got it. We got the free for freestyle. Hello, yes y'all. What up, honey child? 1, 2, we will destroy whack arguments with Colleen Conroy. Yes, y'all, we keep it fresh. I see Elvis and I see Rich Torres. You know, we are off the head like Pez. Props to the man named Rodriguez. First name Pedro, so let go my ego. Connecting cats just like a Lego together. No matter the weather, Jesus the Christ, he's tougher than leather. He's better than any false prophet. David getting tired, so I better stop it. My name vocabulary. In the audience was Gerard Perry and couple others. You know who you are. About to end it right now. Gotta go R out just like a Barbie pirate. Vocab Malone. I sleep with my eyelids closed. Now make your head nod. Keep your word, unlike Mohammed Hijab.
Peace.
Yo, man, there's a couple times I couldn't hear you. I fell out the beat, but it's all good. We had fun. All right, stick around, guys. We might do another show on this if you guys demand it. But for now, it is time to end. So much love to the super chat. Subscribe to the channel. Support Act 17 Apologetics. All that other stuff. In the meantime, peace out.